Okay. Okay. Hello, welcome to our DnC discussions. This is our first time doing this on a live stream and our first one back after a pretty long break. This week we'll be going over reboots and retcons from the comic community and if they benefit or hurt comics, and if they hurt the communities or help or hurt the communities as well. Um, First off, we've got Dinah here, we have Chester, and we have Adrian. I want to say thank you, Chester, for setting this up for us.
Oh, no problem.
All right, so first we're going to start with New 52. That one was probably the most, well, definitely not the most recent, but it was definitely one of the biggest ones in comics, and it definitely didn't last as long as what it should have. How do you guys feel about New 52? Did you guys feel like it was a success, a failure?
Overall?
Yes, overall.
It was probably a failure, but a success in the sense that it made them rethink how to go about doing things because it failed, which brought Rebirth about.
Now, how do you think Rebirth compares as a reboot compared to New 52?
Rebirth seemed to have more direction, to go back to how things used to be, as in how they treated the characters a bit more. And they seemed to take the fans in mind better with Rebirth than they did with 52, because 52 felt like they were like wanting new fans.
Oh, so no, they definitely right. wanted new fans. They made it very obvious. There's several interviews where they pretty much denounced the old fan base. Now, my problem with New 52, not only did it ruin my favorite character, and yes, we'll bring up the mandatory Starfire. Not only did they completely ruin Starfire, but they just it felt like a lot of the characters got turned into mini Bruce Waynes. Like Superman felt like he just didn't feel like Superman. The Teen Titans got way too edgelord. That was actually when I stopped reading comics, was New 52. Teen Titans, the New 52 Teen Titans just ruined it, which is a bit disappointing because the Titans lineup they had was based off of the Young Justice run. And that run was just fantastic, but New 52 came around and felt like those characters weren't themselves anymore. And yeah, we have a picture coming up. You want to put that up, Chester?
I got it on the screen right now.
Now, see, you can tell with New 52, there was a lot of costume changes. Mm-hmm. I feel like Rebirth did a lot better with their costumes. Yeah. No, they're very, very silly costumes. Wonder Girl, I have no idea how her top works. Red Robin, oh poor guy. He wasn't Robin anymore. Like he'd always been Red Robin. They pretty much retconned that.
Sorry. It's too funny. My husband was watching Pokemon. And then he just looked like a Pokemon character.
Oh my god, I think you're right.
The kind of like the mask wrestling thing,
Mm-hmm. Now see, where I think Rebirth kind of fixed the Titans, they brought back original Titans as well, because New 52 wrote out a lot of the Teen Titans. Donna Troy, Garth, the original Wally West. They wrote off... Oh, and Batman had like 5 different Robins in the span of 4 years. That doesn't make sense to me. And then if you'll pull up the Starfire picture, because that when you actually Google top 10 things wrong with New 52, Starfire generally gets her own list. And while the art for New 52, I feel like the art was beautiful, the writing was just... There was no respect for the characters, and you could tell from interviews and stuff that DC DC did not care about their fans. They wanted a new crowd that wasn't into comics, and I feel like New 52 was the big start for the SJW crowd. While they never really got as bad as Marvel, I do feel like it was sort of the opening for when the SJWs really started coming in.
Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, a lot of it seemed to start at that time. I think they were going for an edge. That
Yeah, they were winning the
There's a lot of
13-year-old boy
things.
crowd.
Yeah,
Now,
there was that, but I think they were also just going for like a darker, edgier feel to a lot of things.
Yeah.
now New 52 was not DC's first reboot. Excuse me. They have been known for rebooting, and I believe it first started with the Silver Age, if I'm correct. Do you guys remember when DC did their first reboot?
They've done so
Just a
many
while ago.
reboots.
Yeah. I mean, Infinite Crisis is the one that most people will say was the first reboot, but I know Silver Age had one with the Flash.
I guess if you want to go with the official kind of reboot, I would say that when they did Infinite Crisis, that was probably one of the biggest.
Yeah, Infinite Crisis, 0 Hour was the big one, wasn't it?
I think so.
I like 0 Hour.
Yeah, I feel like some of them actually did help. I feel like Infinite Crisis kind of helped DC. I'm not sure all of them helped. I don't feel like the Kingdom Come Hyper Time one helped too much, but
Just to let you know, Popefire, I made you a moderator over here, so if anybody in the chat wants to ask a question, they can just go ahead and @ Popefire directly, and she'll be able to see it very clearly.
New 52 D-Wolf was 2011, I believe. That was when I actually stopped reading comics. New 52 Starfire was one of many reasons why I didn't like comics at the time. Kingdom. Okay, so Infinite Crisis was 83, wasn't it? No, 86, right?
I'm not sure.
It was later. It was the later years of 80s. That one was done by George Perez and Marv Wolfman, and that one, I feel like that one did sort of solve some issues. I don't feel like all reboots are bad. Definitely Rebirth is definitely one that's pretty good. Now,
do you mean Infinite Crisis, or do you mean Crisis?
Oh, Crisis on Infinite. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I have this right here. This is Infinite Crisis. Is this the one you're talking about, or are you talking about something different?
Crisis on Infinite Earth. Excuse me. Sorry, there's
Right.
so many Crisis books by DC.
Yeah. I think that started in 85 or 86.
I believe it started
it was
in
85.
86.
It was 85, April 1985 to March 1986.
No, Infinite Crisis was 2000. I'm so sorry. The Crisis stuff confused me. I apologize. I don't want to give out any false information.
Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths was in 85, and it went all the way to 86.
Oh, awesome.
I know that they've retconned Superman a whole bunch of times. And then Flashpoint was the big reboot for didn't that one start New 52?
Yeah, I believe Flashpoint had a lot to do with New 52. I didn't get to read much Flashpoint. I read the actual Flashpoint book, but anything outside of that I didn't really read.
Well, here's your what you guys talk about, Crisis on Infinite Earth. That's some great Alex Ross art, by the way.
Yeah.
Now I know Kingdom Come. They did like a slight reboot. No, it wasn't the main Kingdom Come. It was like one of the side stories, I believe, where they did like a hyper time. DC's had a lot of reboots. They've had a lot of retcons.
And comics in general have had quite a bit of rebooting now.
One of the big retcons. was Jason. Like one that I always keep in my mind was Jason Todd, because he went from being a carbon copy of Dick Grayson to they retconned it to his own character. And
yeah, but do you like him better now?
I like Jason Todd better than I like Damian, but he is no way anywhere close to my favorite Robin.
I like Damian until the who was it who went over there and got a hold of Superman and ruined it recently?
Bendis.
Yes, Michael Bendis. My goodness.
They're gonna have to retcon Bendis.
They're gonna have to, because that whole Super Sons thing was great, and he came over there and he just ruined Superman so quickly. I was surprised they let him do that.
Yeah, Derek. Well, I think
the
Society of America is when the Kingdom retcons happened.
The thing I liked about Rebirth was the Superman that they brought into Rebirth with the son and the marriage and everything with Lois. Is the Superman I grew up with in the 90s. He's the one that he was the one, like, he escaped his planet from Doomsday. And I like that they decided to do a story where he is raising a child and his own son and everything, because really I'm right around that age now. I'm raising kids too, so I can kind of relate with that character more than I have before in previous years with that character, because I'm going through some of those same things. That's the thing I liked about the Rebirth Superman and the Super Sons books. And I think they've kind of started to ruin some of that, unfortunately.
Oh, you think so? I think the original Rebirth, when it came out, it was really, really nice. I mean, particularly when you get into some of that Flash and the Green Lantern stuff, was really good.
I agree. I think that Bendis coming on with Superman has kind of caused some problems, though, with all that. It looks like they're looking to split him and Lois up here. And I'm not a fan
absolutely,
of that.
which is ridiculous. Yeah, but Bendis is a problem unto himself. He just can't get out of his own head. He thinks he's something and he's not.
Bendis, I wasn't worried about Superman because I was like, oh, DC, they put their best editors on their Trinity, and then Bendis comes along, and I'm like, okay, I don't have faith in DC now. Now, while we're on Rebirths, what I liked about Rebirth was it felt like they actually listened to the fan base. Because while New 52 was we don't care about the fans, Rebirth was we want our fans back. And I feel like Rebirth in general has been a better success. Oh yeah, children would definitely relate better to Super Sons than they would Superman. But it's not bad to have, because that's one thing that's bothered me, is that there aren't a lot of comics for children.
Yay, the smiling man, Bendis.
Like, one of the big things about New 52 was one of the big excuses for how edgy, like how bad their comics were they were telling fans, well, these are rated PG-13. You don't need to have your children reading them. They're rated PG-13, so we can get away with terrible writing. We can just say it's for adults, but it was clearly written for 13-year-old boys.
Yeah.
So they never get who is their audience right then.
Well, the audience they were going after it's kind of like Marvel is right now, and we'll get to Marvel in a few minutes, but they weren't going after the right people.
And that's the problem. They try to get away with things, but in the same time they were not really being responsible. How you want anything to be successful, running a comics, running a publishing company, you have to focus on their customers. What kind of age range you are focusing on, then you make certain things for them to run. But then seems like they're just trying to shifting around, not really sure what they're doing, and trying to get away with problems or mistakes or flaws that they create.
I'm just leaving this picture up. I'm trying to lure a Booster on.
Booster, we're summoning you.
I think he's off getting food.
Get him a butter pie. Isn't that he like that chicken butter pie in New Zealand?
Chicken butter pie.
Oh, goodness gracious. We were having an argument the other day about pie. The Australians and the New Zealand and Booster were telling us that we Westerners don't understand, well, Americans, we don't understand pie. And we're built on pie. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
look at how many pies we have here in Thanksgiving. We can flood the whole world with pie on Thanksgiving.
I'd like to hear
guys,
him.
Please remember that to check the chat regularly, please.
Yeah.
This is not an EVS stream. We don't need pie talks.
True, but I'm just defending America, Pope. I'm defending the red, white, and blue. You know.
Were there any? Well, we're still on DC because we'll move to Marvel in a little bit. Were there any retcons that you guys were frustrated with, or that you felt were needed? Do you feel retcons hurt comics, or if they help them?
Isn't that recently some of you show me a picture of Constantine? That doesn't look like Constantine, and I nearly whacked my head on the wall because of that.
I didn't like what they did to Lobo.
Oh, New 52.
Yeah.
But why? They turned Lobo into so cool.
They basically turned him into either
Final Fantasy
or whatever the Twilight, those Twilight pretty boys. Basically, just turned him into that. That's not Lobo.
It's not gonna work.
Chester, can you pull up a New 52 Beast Boy, please?
Absolutely.
I wasn't a big fan of how, well, see, when 52 and all that came about, Wildstorm had shut down, but they had given all their characters off to DC at that point because they were pretty much the same company anyways.
Oh, really? I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't really like how a lot of times how they brought in the Wildstorm characters into the DC universe. It felt very forced and didn't make a whole lot of sense a lot of times. So they had several books with those characters that just didn't work out. And now with like Rebirth, I don't know if any of those characters are existing in the universe. But I know like Wildstorm has gone off and done their own book series now under a different label, still being published by DC.
Yeah.
But being a Wildstorm fan from back in the 90s and beyond, I didn't think it worked well with what they did.
That's just normal Beast Boy. New 52 Beast Boy is really bad.
Where's the mic?
But haven't they done a lot of retconning when it comes to Flash and his storyline?
Yes. Yes, DC is notorious for that.
Right.
Hey,
I'm not real sure because I'm not like a huge Flash fan, so I don't know specifics, but I know that they've done a lot of retconning with that character.
Hey, Pope, you want me to see if DeWolf wants to come on?
Definitely. Popefire.
Where's Beast Boy's mic? He looks like he's basically on stage, basically talking to a bunch of fangirls, being a part of
okay, so
there could be three other ones.
Boy. That's not New 52 Beast Boy. New 52 Beast Boy. If you can give me screen share for a little bit, Chester.
I think you go ahead. You have it already. Just go ahead and screen share, and I'll put you on. There you go.
Is it working?
Just go up and hit the little green button and share yourself, and I have you highlighted, so it should show just fine.
No, I don't know how to get this. I apologize. I sent a link in the chat. Could you go to that real quick? Because I have no idea how to screen share without showing the link. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, no problem.
I apologize. I sent a link.
Should we mention any Indiegogo?
Oh, you want that? You want that? I get it. Okay, I get it.
We will we will move on to that stuff after because we're gonna do the first 30 minutes for DC and then the next for Marvel.
You want this stuff here?
Yeah.
I
so I want to show DC had a very it almost seemed like a fetish for the color red because all the Robins had a pretty red tint to
That's a
them.
good
Okay,
point.
who's got the music on?
I'm sorry?
Please don't do the music, please.
Oh, let me turn this game off. There we go. So how's everybody?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
So we're talking about retcons and reboots today, if I'm getting that. Oh man, so which one in particular are we talking about right now?
We're on DC.
Oh boy. I'm almost tempted to ask which one.
So why is he looking like a werewolf now?
DC had a red fetish. Everything was red. That was their favorite color for New 52.
Yeah. So what is that? Like, is that his raging? Because I didn't read any of the New 52 Titans stuff.
No, that wasn't actually Titans. Okay, so the thing about the Teen Titans, DC had this brilliant idea that the Teen Titans fans from the cartoon were now old enough to buy their own comics. So what they did was they took every Titan, excluding Raven, and put them on different titles. You had Cyborg as the token black guy on Justice League. You had Beast Boy on Suicide Squad, Beast Boy and Terra. You had Starfire on Outlaws. You had Nightwing on his own book, and then Raven later joined the New 52 Teen Titans.
Yeah. William in the chat said that it looks like Red Hulk.
Yeah, it was not a good look. So there's this Marvel editor that says, you take the top 3 things about a character and you never change them. You don't take when you ask people what they think of, like if you ask somebody, what do you think of when you think of Wonder Woman? You people are gonna say lasso, invisible jet, and her gauntlets and stuff, and you never change them. Like you always keep that stuff because that's what the majority of people will think of when they think Wonder Woman. You don't take Beast Boy, who is known for being green, and change him to red.
It is weird, huh?
Yeah, and they claim that it had something to do with the red, which is like the animal power based stuff in DC.
Oh yeah.
But I still think there's a lot of retconning on Origins, while a lot of Origin stayed the same. Rebirth was not well edited, so there was a lot of different things going on.
Yeah. So you want to put another picture up? You want to see something else?
Yes, please. Let's move on to Rebirth Beast Boy, so we can show the difference of New 52 and Rebirth. Now, see, we've talked about this before, but Rebirth definitely feels like a much more fan-friendly reboot than New 52 did. Now, are there any other reboots that you guys want to talk about from DC before we move on to Marvel?
Well, I'm not totally learned up on the whole Crisis Infinite Earths thing, but I know I was talking to Bad Mike about it a little bit, and he said that a lot of that had to do with getting rid of Superman's history and restarting Superman so that he didn't have all the baggage with him, because I think this is why they did Crisis Infinite Earths. But basically because Superman had so much baggage and there was so many spin-offs and stuff from him that they were doing better than his actual book was doing. So after that reboot, I think it was Byrne that took over.
Okay, somebody
and he slowly started to bring all that stuff back in. But
let me just interject real quick, guys. If you have your YouTube on to deal with the chat, which is a good idea, just make sure that you shut off your mute the YouTube itself, or it will come through your mics and stuff. Or if you have TVs or what have you, go ahead and shut that off.
Now, Derek is saying he does not like the fact that they de-aged the new Teen Titans. Now, I do have a question for the chat before we move on to Marvel. Who do you feel gets rebooted or retconned the most from DC? Do you think retcons or reboots will benefit them? Personally, I think depending on the character, like I don't feel like Superman or Batman needs to be rebooted consistently. Like I feel like DC's kind of got a hard-on for rebooting them.
Yeah, they do seem to reboot both
and
of those
Wonder
characters
Woman.
a lot.
Wonder Woman gets the reboots. Oh Jesus!
I think Flash could fall under that category with the retconning, especially. He
it wasn't his original story. Like he got abducted by aliens or something.
No, it's always been the lightning strike.
Yeah, it's always been a lightning strike.
I'll tell you something. Jeff Johns seems to have this thing for wanting to make the characters he writes extremely overpowered, particularly with his Rebirth Flash and Green Lantern Rebirth. He likes to write these characters and kind of say, these are the most powerful versions of these characters ever in the whole DC universe. I don't care for that stuff. I don't like to make super characters, you know?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the new? What do you think of this Rebirth Beast Boy I got on the screen here? I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like that kind of cartoonish style, and
yeah, it's cool. I like cartoonish style.
Beast Boy actually in the main continuity during the Teen Titans cartoon, I believe it was during that time, they actually retconned him from looking just like a green human into more of what we see nowadays with like the pointed ears and. So that's something interesting.
Yeah, I like this style.
Yeah, the Teen Titans cartoon caused a lot of retcons for the Teen Titans.
Yeah. Denali in the chat said that Jeff Johns wanted to return them back to the Silver Age power levels.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Or Superman that's cool. Like move a solar system.
Where he'd sneeze and like everything would explode.
Yeah.
I like things to be a little bit more grounded, but hey.
DeWolf says he doesn't hear an echo out here. Yeah. It's not my fault, man. It's not my fault.
I don't know who is echoing.
Nah, he's making a joke about our chat.
Oh, okay.
He's giving me a hard time.
Which
I deserve. I do completely deserve. I understand that.
Now let's move on to Marvel. And Marvel, I don't think has... I mean, they've definitely gone through a lot of retcons and reboots from the last few years, but I didn't think they had as many reboots as DC did. It definitely didn't seem as frequently, but I'm also not a Marvel junkie.
I'd say across the board, they tend to do more drastic retcons, you know, especially with the all different stuff, which a lot of that seems to be out of spite of both Fox and Sony for the IPs they don't own. Particularly with the, they kind of ditched the mutants and made a whole bunch, all the stuff they tried to do with the Inhumans. It was all very spiteful.
Ooh, I almost made money there. It was close.
I control myself. I'm a good boy. I'm a good little lad.
The first one I can remember, one of the major reboots in recent years, is the whole House of M stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty big move to change things.
Well, Marvel reboots things all the time.
Yeah.
I find Venus' writing so forgettable.
It seems like he's always about rebooting things, but I don't like looking at the history of Marvel though. In the past, I don't recall like major reboots but I'm not like, I don't know a lot about the 80s Marvel stuff because I didn't read at that time. I didn't start picking up comics till the 90s when I was like 12.
I can help you there.
Go ahead. Was there major reboots in the 80s as well?
Well, 80s it was the actual one of the great times in comic books, I think. And do we have reboots? Of course, they were always trying to redo things here and there. I mean, Chris Claremont, when he came out with his X-Men, in a way, it was a reboot, wasn't it? I mean, it was taking the old X-Men and bringing in all these cool characters like Storm and Wolverine and everything like that. So, I mean, it's a soft reboot, I guess.
That was a big reboot done right.
Yeah, somebody brought up House of M. That one was definitely a big reboot for Marvel.
I mean, that was a move to kill off a lot of mutants that they thought had become too, like the world had become too bogged down with the mutant characters. But
yeah, they literally went the wrong direction. They should have concentrated on the different type of ones instead of killing them. But hey,
I agree.
Yeah, I feel like X-Men definitely gets the most retcons out of almost anyone.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the Shazam. Yeah.
Because the writers don't know what they're doing.
I feel like the writers are always trying to one-up each other, and they don't really respect each other's work. So when a new one comes on, he's like, well, how can I do this? Like, I want to do this one wanted to do that. A lot of it just comes from spitefulness. And like we talked about earlier, I mean, Marvel has been very spiteful. I mean, we see this with all the SJW stuff.
We do. And speaking of that, I'll put some stuff up for you to talk about. Here we go. You want to talk about rebooting stuff?
Oh no, what are you doing? Oh god.
Yeah. Or how about this one? This is a really good one. You guys will love this one. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, that's what we want. That's what we need.
Okay, so the thing about that, female. I just want to point something out. Think of a male superhero and try and think of a male superhero that doesn't have a female counterpart. You can't. It just doesn't. Like, there's always going to be a female counterpart, even before the SJW stuff. I mean, you had Batman had Batwoman and Batgirl. There's a female Robin. There's Hulk has She-Hulk. Captain America had American Dream. Iron Man got freaking Ironheart, and I feel so bad for Iron Man fans.
Oh my god.
There's very few times where there's a male superhero that doesn't have a female counterpart. I mean, I think there's even like a female Nightcrawler-ish character.
Do you think a lot of the reasons, like a lot of some of these moves to reboot things or to change the characters like that, is more along the parts of the actual writer trying to get properties that they can make money off of in the future? Because if they create the character, they get some kind of royalties, right?
No, it's all about love, man. It's all about love.
I don't think so.
Well, the reason I ask is because it's like, okay, so they wanted to make a Lady Thor, but didn't they have a character like a Lady Thor?
Yes, her name is Sif, and she's awesome.
From what I've heard,
so why would they make
the contracts don't work that way? Like, they specifically was Pepper Potts. She was the Iron Suit. Yeah, you were right. The contracts, any royalties, like, very rarely, like, especially now, the royalties won't be going to the creators. But that's just what I've heard.
It depends how the creator themselves set it up, though, because I know Rob Liefeld gets a ton of money for his stuff at this time. Yeah. He's making a living. He made a living off of Cable and Deadpool at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know if they still
his contract.
If they still do those contracts that way nowadays, because I feel like that's why a lot of them are kind of dirt poor.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure Bendis is going to be making money off of whatever he gets out of Riri Williams, whether she is successful or not. But
a bottle of grape soda.
Yeah.
Marvel's biggest retcon is retconning any diverse characters before all this SJW stuff. That has been the biggest retcon from Marvel. Because they pretend like these characters never existed.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Like they act like there's never been diversity within the comics.
And guess what?
And Marvel's been one of the most diverse comics.
Yes, it has. Stan Lee did it from the very beginning, didn't he?
Very beginning.
And guess what, comic companies? I have lived in several different big cities. I have had several different comic book shops. I have only seen 3 women in a comic book shop actually buying comics, and they do not buy female-led comics that are crappy. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that women make up half the fan base, and then
nope.
Most of the okay, so we have a more diverse group in our discussions than they have at Marvel. Like, they're fans that they're going for, the fans that they're making all these retcons for. If they do read them, if they are reading them, they're reading them illegally. They're not buying them. They're not buying them digitally. They're not. I mean, okay, so I have talked to my comic book shop, and they told me that there are 2 SJWs that actually come in and buy books. That's not a good number. And you know what they buy? They don't buy the SJW comic books. They buy Nightwing. The 2 SJWs that go into comic book shops, they buy Nightwing. They don't buy SJW books.
That's rather amusing. They don't even like the books that are catered towards them.
No, they don't.
No, they
and
don't.
I can tell you 2 big circular reasons why they buy Nightwing.
Okay. But since you guys are talking about that, the rebooting and things they've done, I mean, take a look at these a couple of pictures here. Now, this right here is this amazingly, absolutely awful character that no one reads, but yet they refuse to cancel or get rid of. But
remember, guys, that's what they think women look like.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I mean, she actually literally looks handicapped, which is not a bad thing in itself, but she's supposed to be. But here, now this is what they got her looking like now. But look at this. Why don't they do this? That's cute. Why don't we have that kind of Squirrel Girl? Why is this what we have?
For a while.
That involves talent and effort.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this one on just so I can disturb you guys, though.
The funny thing about Erica Henderson, she had this thing called the beefcakes, right? She was sexualizing men, but she'll then turn around and complain at people for drawing sexy women. Erica Henderson is a hypocrite in all forms.
Yeah. It's sad because Squirrel Girl could probably be turned into a pretty good character that could be for kids. Well, but it's like I've read the first volume of that book for research purposes in the past. I would never read that book to my kid. Like, my kid would get bored with it, like, within 2 minutes.
Even the show that was the live action show they were trying to do that she was supposed to be in casted a girl that AT&T commercial girl who looks nothing like modern comic Squirrel Girl, so they know better.
Oh yeah, they definitely know better. I could see it easily being like a manga-esque type book, but I don't know. There's more text in that book, especially in the first volume that I read. There's more text than you would see on a novel's page, I think. And nothing happens. There's no movement in the story, and it's all propaganda when it comes down to it. It's terrible.
No surprise there.
Thanks for changing the photo, Chester.
I punished you enough. I think I punished you enough.
Thank you, Chester.
Like Adrian said, I mean, all of these characters, if you have the right creative teams behind them, can be decent characters. Even an unlikable character like Riri Williams, if taken in the right creative direction, you could make them interesting. And it doesn't exclusively has to be a heroic direction. You can make some of these characters villainous. I mean, one of the cool things about comics is that you see villains become heroes and heroes become villains. So it's not exclusive that they have to be good.
Oh, they know that already. That's why they turned Captain America to a Nazi.
Yeah, why? What is with them? Why have they forgotten how to write a classic hero's journey? You know, like Riri is presented to us like she's supposed to be some kind of heroic character that we should look up to, but she is written like an unlikable sociopath. But we're told that she's the hero of the story
because SJWs don't understand how people work. And here's on my screen, I shared this little.
I don't think they understand heroics.
Well, let's just say, isn't that most of them? Sorry.
This squirrel girl from Hero Up it looks better than the comics. Okay,
that's true.
So there's an issue with that.
She looks like she's gonna sing the Lollipop Guild song.
I'm kind of curious. So, what is their requirement for hiring all these writers? Seriously, what's the requirement? They always have
politics.
Just a warning, guys. Major cringe warning. Major cringe warning. Here it comes.
No.
You ready?
Oh my
Major
gosh!
cringe. It sounds like a great superhero.
Yeah.
It looks like a furry.
You know what? We should be named. That's it.
Why do you have to do that to me? You know that's the one thing that I'm afraid of.
I want you guys to know something. Women
Look,
have breasts.
it's your boy,
That is not a bad thing. Girls have breasts. Women have breasts. What is hard about that? Like, what is hard to understand about that?
Booster and I agree 100%, huh, Booster? Women do have breasts.
Women have breasts. Girls have chest. Like, it doesn't make. Why would you retcon their boobs off?
Well, hey,
I now.
That's Richard.
I now can get why DnC hates Captain Marvel because they used his likeness without permission.
Hey, now, you guys realize DC saw that and they're like, hey, they're onto something, and now they're going to do that with Black Canary, evidently.
What?
Oh yeah, they blew Black Canary.
That is not Captain Marvel. That's actually
Black Canary
Richard.
looks like a boy.
Why is DC not looking at this as an opportunity to like go in the opposite direction and be like, well, this is clearly failing for Marvel. Let's.
I believe the people at the top have all the same viewpoints.
Yeah.
Okay, so we learned from Mike and Ethan that there's apparently a really high up SJW there.
Yeah.
Tom Brevoort.
So, yeah. This is Popefire's stream. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They actually nerfed Starfire's titties too. Like she went from being like one of the biggest boobs to like a C cup. Like sometimes it's like sometimes a B. In her solo series, sometimes she had an A cup. It was really weird. Yeah. No, they've actually been retconning boobs out of comics, which I find completely disrespectful.
Like these are choices too. This is like it reminds you.
And it's hypocritical of them. Aren't they the ones saying we should value all body types, and then all of a sudden they're
they are shaming you for having a nice body.
Only if your body type is Faith's body type,
or if you look like a whale.
You know, actually, Captain Marvel is the interesting one because if you guys look at the comics, I mean, there's all shapes of people. But Miss Marvel was rather heavy-breasted, right? I mean,
yes,
they actually chose one of the bigger-breasted ladies to do that to. It's kind of interesting.
They not only
I don't know
if this chest, but made her look like a man.
Doesn't this seem like some twisted version of Frederick Wertham, though? I mean,
what did you say?
Seduction of the Innocent?
Yeah, Seduction of the Innocent. Doesn't it seem like a twisted version of that or something?
Yeah,
I was gonna say they're taking the wealth and they're redistributing the breast sizes.
Yes,
oh my god, that's awful.
To who? To who? Nobody else in Marvel's getting them.
I can prove that women can have feminine bodies. I just don't know if I want to.
But see, with Marvel, where they did their big reboot was when they did the Secret Wars, right? And that's when this stuff really started to get pushed fast and hard and heavy. Like, they were really pushing it in our faces at that point, and it was getting. That's when I dropped it all, pretty much. Like I was done. Well, it started with Secret Wars, and they had the A-Force book, and I don't know if anybody read that.
Nope.
They had quite a bit of
Marvel All New All Different started.
That's I believe it started after Secret Wars when all that stuff started. Yes.
Yuck.
I mean, they had been subtly doing things, and they were getting more bolder and bolder. But then when Secret Wars happened, they saw their chance. I'm pretty sure Alonzo saw his chance, and he's like, "This is how we're going to do this from now on." because that rebooted the whole world, that rebooted the whole system, everything. And they took characters out from that. They took characters out from that, and they replaced them with new characters.
Okay, I can.
But
prove...
at the same time, they pretend all these characters have the same histories that they had before.
Yeah, well, and that's when Nazi Cap came about too, right after Secret Wars.
Yeah, well, actually, I put this up because I wanted to ask you guys a question. You see Cap, he's looking right at us, right? He's looking right at us, and he says, "Hail Hydra." Who do you think's actually talking to us? Who is that person that's on the other side of the pencil that is talking to us, do you think?
Nick Thick Spencer?
Oh, yeah. That's
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, yes. No, I mean, can you believe, you guys have heard some of the statements this guy has made, right? I mean, he is a full-on racist. He's racist.
And he's with a pencil.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he is, and he's proud of being a racist. He doesn't hide it. He doesn't run from it. But yet, you actually put him on Captain America. What is wrong with you? That's like someone's got brain damage or something.
No,
no, that was on purpose. That was strictly...
a clear. Yeah, that was a move.
Yeah,
it was
because
like with the Aubrey Sitterson thing. It was much like that.
I mean, it's like this. The people in Marvel, I wouldn't even say they're racist. They want to make these political statements, but they have an audience, and whether they like it or not, the audience is majority white, majority male, and that was a sticking point to go out and get a guy who hates white people, but ironically, 90% of his most ardent followers are guilty white people looking for brownie points in the black community. To put on Captain America.
Talk about Marvel's obsession with retconning sexualities.
Okay, but hold on. I want to point out something real quick. DeWolf said that they were directly saying Patriots are the bad guys with that move.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, because he joined Antifa. Like, seriously.
You must listen to Mr. DeWolf. He is the chairman of the board. He knows what he's talking about.
All right, sorry about that, Starfire. Go ahead.
So not only have they made women look like men, which is laughable because they're always saying that like there should be more women in comic books, but we don't want it's just funny. But they've also retconned certain characters' sexualities. They did it with Alan Scott on DC, and then with Marvel they've done it with Human Torch recently,
Iceman.
And Iceman. I am a bisexual woman. I have trans friends. I have gay friends. I showed that book to one of my trans friends. They put it down. They did not finish the first. My gay friend read it.
And the arrow.
My gay friend Dakota read it all the way through and told me that it was insulting towards gay people. He did not believe. He thought it was a 90s book. He did not believe it was a recent book.
Well, Popefire, I'm sorry to have to inform you of this, but you're going to have to leave this community. We don't allow diversity here, so sorry.
Were you not informed? This is a Nazi meeting.
Yes, Booster is the lead. He's in charge of that.
Now,
that was horrible. Practice, man. Practice.
That was a perfect Nazi impression. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, our community is really diverse, but
it is.
It doesn't mean that I have to tell everybody what race I am. You can totally tell I have an accent and stuff. I'm totally not from America. I'm totally not from America.
I thought you were born in the Midwest.
Yeah, I'm originally from Hong Kong. I come to America for school and stuff, so similar to Star, bisexual. I used to be a feminist and all this stuff, and then I just, hey, life changed. I still love comics.
You just changed your mind, did you?
Well, then, ni hao to you. I actually live over here in Japan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I love Hong Kong. Hong Kong's great. We could.
Why did I just get placed on a timeout?
Because Popefire was given a wrench. Now I had a feeling that was going to be a problem.
I mean, I thought it was. I needed to ban someone.
Oh.
Okay.
America.
Thanks, I'm the pick. Okay, I see.
If you guys don't mind, I can share my Starfire cosplay and show that women can be fit. If you guys would like.
Go ahead.
I don't want to do anything that would creep anybody out.
I mean, you can show it. I just hope you don't get doxxed. But
yeah.
I mean, I'm not like naked or anything.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna keep it on here too long because it is kind of embarrassing. But I mean, women can be in shape. Women can have a feminine body.
No.
So it's stupid to sit here and tell people to make, especially female superheroes, because they're supposed to be. I mean, yeah, in the 90s there were some that were like. I mean, She-Hulk has just been completely destroyed recently, but
that's a nice way to say it.
Popefire is random. Yeah, I am pretty random. No, like they've completely retconned like feminine bodies away, and when they do give somebody a feminine body, it's like they have to apologize, and in like the next book, it's like, oh, back to this whatever this is, and it's almost like women aren't allowed to be women anymore, and they want this female fan base, but they don't appeal to them.
I mean, do they not know how many girls grow up with Barbie dolls, for crying out loud?
Hey, man, some men grow up with Barbie dolls too. Don't be like that, man.
Chester, do you have something to admit?
No, I don't. No, but I might have had a Steve Austin doll when I was a kid that I absolutely loved and played with every day. But that right there is rumor, so don't spread it.
Or the shows that were aimed at females always had like an attractive female lead in them.
It's almost like women like beautiful things. Like, who would have known? Okay, so
absurd.
It sounds like patriarchy are pushing them to me.
All these feminist writers, all these male feminists, have no problem like going, "You're sexualizing females," but then turning around and sexualizing the men. It's just
apparently one of those things is less oppressive somehow, but
it's only fair.
And they've been doing it with several characters because the men are still super buff. They just make them more feminine personality, which is disgusting. Like women do not like feminine guys. If I wanted to date a freaking girl, I would date a freaking girl. I wouldn't. I'm not gonna date a guy that's more feminine than me. That's ridiculous.
It's kind of depressing. Why are they making? I mean, I know they want to say that.
The toxic masculinity.
I'm trying not to sound racist, but I like seeing black guys being really strong, powerful, like Blade, like Luke Cage. But they're trying to make all the black guys like, I'm very sweet. I was like, oh no, are you turning them into soy boys? Please no.
Like, why are the women written like men and the men are written like women? Like, why? Why
do I want a man at more feminine than I am?
Well, a lot of this has to do with Marx's philosophy, I believe.
What is his philosophy again?
Lots and lots of garbage, but
yeah.
For a man who doesn't have to work. I mean, seriously?
It's about tearing down society and societal norms and changing the way people look at things.
And how well is that working for Marvel?
Well, it's not at all. They're not thinking about it on business terms. It's like EVS said in many streams. They're not thinking in business terms. They're thinking in pure political terms anymore.
Well, like you said, because if you think about that,
everything is a social construct.
Yes.
Cringe warning. Cringe warning.
They have the money to do that. DC runs by Time Warners. They have the money, and then Disney is backing Marvel. They have all that money. So it's not about making money anymore.
It's about influencing people with some BS agenda.
They are remaking our society.
Soy boy.
We really can't remake our society. They can try to influence it, but I mean, sooner or later the money's going to run out. It's going to run out.
It's Spider-Man.
but guys, this picture right here, which they actually published in an actual comic book, is the perfect encapsulation of what this whole conversation is about, isn't it? I mean, look at that. They put that
here's
in
the
a
problem with
comic
that.
book, man.
Spider-Man's supposed to be like 28 or 30 in that series.
Yes.
Why on God's green earth is he making a dead... And this is another thing that the SJWs can't meme. He's making a dead meme face. This is not acceptable.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
They're turning him from the Amazing Spider-Man to the feminine Soider-Man.
I mean, he's making a face that you see them make in their little photo shoots like the who was it that just recently did a shoot? Like he did a photo with a bunch of girls that from Marvel that they went and saw the Rich Asians movie.
Hey, I have the picture.
So you want to share your screen?
Yeah, it's the same one. Look at that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the soy boy face.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like
absurd.
I can't
believe
it
want
was
that in a comic. They're trying to go for that hipster crowd and it's absurd. Like this is what I miss about comics, like in the big two especially. I want my comics to be freaking comics again.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be pop culture as much as they have. Well, not even pop culture. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like our comic books are no longer comic books. I don't know what they are anymore.
It's Instagram culture. It's not even
pop culture. Just a propaganda. That's what it is.
Okay, guys, we are on our last minute. As always, this is our closing statement. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up and for putting in your voices, and I'd like to thank the chat for being here for our first live stream. It means a lot to all of us that you guys showed up. We usually do these weekly, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. So if anybody else would ever like to join, just shoot me a message on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for showing up, and we can go ahead and close the stream.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Live. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming to Popefire's stream here and discussion. Just make sure that you like this video and please sub to the channel so that we can grow. We were trying to get to 100 so we can give ourselves a vanity name. Thank you all very much, and good night.
Hold on. I gotta put everybody in timeout.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. What have I done again?
She already put me in timeout.
Am I in the naughty corner too?
I was telling everybody to like and subscribe. That was me.
Oh wait, shouldn't we
thank you.
mention about some Indiegogos before we shut down?
Yeah, go ahead. If you want to say something, go right ahead.
Well, I wanted to show it so fast.
Well, you can share your screen. I'll put it up for you, man.
Here it is. So look at that. 28 more. 29% more, and it'll be finished.
Black and white.
Freaking Raven fans. We gotta put them in double timeout.
Isn't that great?
Well, the good thing is, Pope, that you cannot time me out. I
did nothing wrong.
Support Lady Alchemy. Support. Support Cyberfrog.
And support everything, guys.
And join our Facebook groups. Definitely join our Facebook groups because that's where we go up to like
support
meet up and
Detective Dead.
Support Detective Dead. Yeah, we also have the Fanspeak group. We have a Lone Star group. There's a DnC group. Anybody else have any specific groups they want to shout out for Facebook?
Nope.
Are we gonna do the Jawbreaker National Day?
Oh, I think we should.
We will do a Halloween discussion.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Sounds like fun.
We need to dress up.
I've already
got Teen Titans.
I already stress out. Why would I stress up for?
Next live stream, Fanspeak, I will be dressed up as a Pope. So you guys should all definitely come and see that one because that will be hilarious.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Be interesting.
Yeah, I do have to say thank you, Popefire, because when you were going to show your cosplay, I'm glad you put a picture up. I was really worried we were going to get an actual live striptease, and I was my wife's in the room. So, you know.
No, I'm a very modest.
I'm
a very modest person. I would never do that.
Booster told me otherwise. It's his fault.
I did nothing of the sort.
What was you doing, Booster? All right, let's go ahead and close this out so I can go play some HOTS. You guys are wasting my weekend.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Later.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.